Welcome to Pilates Deep Dive, the podcast that explores the wisdom of movement through the lens of Pilates, biomechanics, breath, and body awareness. Each episode is a guided journey, a moment to slow down, to feel, and to deepen your practice. Today, I invite you to explore a foundational Pilates exercise accessible to everyone but filled with unexpected richness, rolling like a ball. This exercise is an invitation to reconnect with your central axis, to feel your alignment, and to experience the fluidity of movement in harmony with the breath. Above all, it's a subtle exploration of the connection between our physical structure and our nervous system. As we roll backwards, we consciously mobilize the spine with precision, vertebra by vertebra. We invite the deep core muscles to stabilize and the trunk flexors to initiate the movement with finesse. Meanwhile, the brain listens, it adjusts, it encodes. The primary motor cortex activates the movement. The cerebellum, the conductor of coordination, refines our trajectory. And the vestibular system helps us stay balanced through dynamic motion. But that's not all. This seemingly simple movement also awakens our sense of embodiment, that ability to inhabit the body fully, to perceive subtle muscular adjustments, the contact with the floor, the density of the breath. This awareness is built in part thanks to the insula, a region of the brain deeply involved in interoception, the perception of our inner state. In other words, our ability to truly listen to ourselves, and that's where rolling like a ball becomes therapeutic. By strengthening the transverse abdominis, coordinating breath with action, and respecting the body's natural rhythm, we re-educate the nervous system. We build new motor pathways, we reduce compensation patterns, and gradually we learn to do less in order to do better. A fluid movement, executed slowly and precisely, holds far more neurophysiological value than a fast, approximate sequence, because each time we roll back with control, we provide the brain with clear input. Here is my spine, here is its flexion, here is how I organize my center of gravity. And this has a direct impact on postural tone, emotional balance, and even sleep. Why? Because conscious diaphragmatic breathing stimulates the vagus nerve, the main regulator of the parasympathetic system, the one that helps us move from stress to calm, from effort to recovery. Rolling like a ball is also this, a pedagogy of the body that speaks all the way to the brain. As you sit down, knees bent, gaze towards your knees, spine softly rounded, you're not just getting ready to roll, you're reconnecting, you're closing a loop. A subtle dialogue is unfolding between your intention, your posture, and your breath. The starting position is essential. You're not sitting directly on your site bones, but slightly behind them, in that fine, unstable zone where gravity invites muscular engagement. The legs are drawn together, the ankles softly plantar flexed, the arms curved forward, gently holding the shins. This is where the famous C-curve begins, a soft, continuous flexion of the entire spine from occiput to coccyx, without breaks, without hollows, without cervical tension. This curve is alive. It's not passive. It's sculpted from deep abdominal activation. At the front of the trunk, the transverse abdominis forms the deepest layer. It acts like an inner belt, stabilizing the lumbopelvic region. Just above it, the internal oblique originates from the inguinal ligament, iliac crest, and thoracolumbar fascia, sweeping upward toward the lower ribs and linea alba. Then comes the external oblique, the most superficial layer, originating from the last 8 ribs and running diagonally downward and inward toward the linea alba, iliac crest, and pubis. Beneath that lies the rectus abdominis, extending vertically from the lower sternum and costal cartilage to the pubic symphysis. It's enveloped in the rectus sheath, and although deeper than the external oblique, it plays a major role in trunk flexion. It creates the continuity of the C curve, that line of frontal support for the posture. These three layers, transverse internal and external obliques and rectus abdominis, work as a team, a living architecture layered, coordinated, guided by breath and intention. The rectus flexes, the obliques support an organized lateral action, and the transverse locks the center. Together, they sculpt the C curve and hold the rolling motion in a cocoon of dynamic stability. The movement begins with an inhalation, which opens the rib cage in 3 dimensions and gently guides the body backward into a controlled roll. Returning to the seated position happens on the exhalation to deepen the connection to the core. This reversed breathing pattern sharpens awareness and refines the movement. And as coordination improves, you may reverse it again. Exhale to roll back, inhale to come up, expanding the rib cage as you regain balance. In this simple circular motion, a whole world of sensations unfolds, a loop, a center, a breath. But let's be clear, many people struggle to roll backward. They immediately think their abs aren't strong enough. Yet more often than not, the issue is not strength. It's a lack of segmental mobility in the lumbar spine. If this part of the spine can't flex fluidly, the body compensates. It blocks, resists, overworks. This is why we must mobilize the spine sequentially, vertebra by vertebra, and that can only happen through refined motor control, through conscious, patient practice. This takes one essential thing: deep concentration, a mind freed from automatisms, and a sincere intention to move each segment individually, like playing a scale slowly with care. It's in this space of attentive presence that true movement quality is born. And it's in this very intention that rolling like a ball becomes more than an exercise. It becomes a meditative practice, a spinal massage, a return to essence. And then there's the joy. Yes, joy is part of this movement, because often what we observe is this: the exercise relaxes the spine. The rolling feels like a soft internal massage. It invites release, and this release is visible on the face. Features soften, laughter emerges, a lightness returns. Participants smile, some even burst out laughing, like the body suddenly remembered something ancient, something playful, something childlike. Of course, coming back up can be a bit harder. There's a moment of imbalance, a trace of frustration, but even that becomes a moment of humility, of curiosity, of exploration. Rolling like a ball is a doorway to your inner child, a chance to return to movement as play, to freedom without judgment. And maybe that's what this exercise is really about: to feel, to breathe, to play, to reconnect. Thank you for taking this time to listen, to feel, and perhaps already to invite more fluidity into your body. Rolling like a ball teaches us that movement is not measured by intensity, but by the quality of our presence. It reminds us that the essential often lies in gentleness, in continuity, in the breath. If you haven't yet, I encourage you to try it. On a mat, in silence, no performance, just exploration, just you, with your axis, your breath, your attention. And if a smile escapes along the way, let it. That's often where healing begins, in the spontaneity of joy. I'll meet you again soon for a new episode of Bio Pilates Deep Dive. Until then, take care of your body, your breath, your spine, and keep moving with softness, with precision, and with curiosity. See you soon.